there I was, alone in the park, minding my own business, practicing my Tai Chi, when all of a sudden a stranger snuck up behind me and attacked. What did I do? Turn and chop with fist. Okay, I just made up that story, but that's the movement that we're going to learn today. Hi everybody, it's David-Dorian Ross. Welcome to the Cherry Blossom Studios. Today is day number 24 of 100 Days of Tai Chi. Isn't that exciting? And today's movement is called Turn and Chop with Fist, and it really is used in case somebody sneaks up behind you. Anyway, we've got a great question of the day from a viewer and a question for you too, and all of that's coming up right after this. In our last lesson, we learned a movement called fanning to the back or sliding to the back. And that movement actually takes us down in this direction about as far as we're going to go for a while. And so the new lesson tonight, which is movement number 28, called Turn and Chop with Fist, turns us around and points us in a direction where we're going to do several movements going down this way. Chop with a fist is a new kind of movement because it involves a sort of a double strike. So watch me one time and then we'll do it together. Right, so here we are at the end of sliding to the back. Very interesting kind of movement. Let's break it down. I'm going to start out breaking it down in this direction. Then I'll turn around and we'll face the camera and do that flippy thing so that you can watch me in mirror image. Starting with layer one, the footwork. Now this is a little bit tricky because it's, again, different than what we've done so far. I'm going to unweight this front foot sitting on back and simultaneously turn my body. So I got to give you a little body movement layer along with the footwork layer. So I sit back, I turn to my right, and this left toe pivots inward. Right? That all happens together. Sit on the right foot, turn to the right, left toe pivots, but then I'm going to immediately shift back onto this left foot. So that in sort of the first part of this movement, I want to turn around and sit. Right? Got that? Now we're not done with the footwork yet here. The next part of the footwork is this right foot picks up and then sets down. Now this is not setting down in an empty step. It's actually setting down preparatory to shifting into a bow step. So I've got to move it farther away from me and a little bit out to the side to make a channel, right? So after I've turned around, sat back down, I take this foot out a little bit. And then the third part of the footwork here is to shift the center of gravity forward into the Tai Chi lunge, into the bow step, facing this direction. And I'm pretty squared in my bow steps, facing down the lane. All right, one more time, watch that. This is just the footwork layer. All right, sit on back, emptying out the front foot, turning to the right and cranking those left toes in, and immediately sitting back on the left foot. Now I want to release this right foot a little bit, so allow it to pivot to release any of the twist on the leg and the knee. Now the right foot steps out and away a little bit, landing on the heel first, then shift forward, creating your bow step. Beautiful. Okay, file that away, we'll come back. Layer number two, the hands and arms. So I was beginning in a position where the left hand is struck out and the right hand is floating by the temple. As I turn around, let's just take the left hand only. The left hand rises up to protect the head, sort of like an umbrella, overhead here, and it stays there all the way around until I'm sitting on this left foot looking down the lane. The right hand, which was floating over here by the temple, is going to fall downward and cross over sort of the belly height here. But it's also an arc. I know I'm wearing black and you can't quite see this, but see there's a rounded shape up here on top, almost a mirror image rounded shape on the bottom. And so I've got round and round by the time I sit down, by the time I turn around. Okay? The second part of this that corresponds with my step out here is that the right hand makes a fist. And as this right foot steps out, the fist comes out. Right? The fist comes out and matches. So I got elbow over knee, fist over foot. Right? So they sort of match together. The left hand that's up high over here drops and sort of pulls into the shoulder a little bit. It's getting ready to do something special here. So I've turned around, I got the arc here. As this one comes out, this one drops down. And then I've broken this apart, but really there's no waiting. It's an immediate shift forward, palm strike here with the left hand. The right fist has come back to the hip. Okay. Altogether, it flows very smoothly, no breaks. Starts out here, turn, back fist, there's the chop with fist, and push forward. Now, as you can see, there's a waist turn that comes along with it. This is layer number 3, and I've already included some of that. So the waist acts like this. I'm starting from a position where my torso is facing 45 degrees off the line here. I sit back and I'm already turning, looking down the lane. Sit back. Begin to turn my body even more so that by the time I finish with that palm strike, I'm very square, my hips have squared off, and my chest is straight forward. All right, let's take another look at it. Let's look at it facing this direction, and I'm actually going to have to start out facing away from you because that's where the movement starts, right? So once again, I'm flipping the camera around, boom. You've got your left foot forward, turning around. Now I've got my right foot in front. Take that right hand, chop, and palm strike. One more time. It's a sit back, and the left hand goes overhead. Then sit back on the left foot, and here I am. You can see my feet are almost crossed, so I got to do something about that right away. And make this fist on the bottom here, and chop, and immediately sit forward. Beautiful. And rest. Let's take a look at that one last time. And since we've done it so many times on this side, I'm going to turn around and do it on this side over here. So here I am, fanning through the back. Turn and chop with fist. Today's viewer question of the day comes from Anna Smith, who had an earlier question about different styles of Tai Chi, and then I made a comment and she came back and said, you talked about internal martial arts, and what's the difference between internal martial arts and martial arts? Well, Anna, that's a really great question, and in fact I'm going to give you a little bit different distinction here. We actually have in Chinese martial arts a division between what we call the internal styles and the external styles. So internal martial arts versus external martial arts. And external martial arts are those like Shaolin Kung Fu and many other forms of the many different animal styles and Wing Chun and all kinds of things like that in Chinese martial arts, which focus on external techniques, the conditioning of the body, the speed and the accuracy of the different techniques, punches and kicks, etc. Internal martial arts, on the other hand, are martial arts that go one step farther and focus not only on the outside of the body, but on the inside as well. And Tai Chi is considered to be the premier, the top of the pyramid of these internal martial arts styles. Now, it does have, Tai Chi does have an external component. In fact, in traditional training, your Sifu, your master, would take you on a journey starting with the external, starting with conditioning of the body, learning how to punch and kick, learning how to spar, developing your sensitivity, all those kinds of things which you would normally do in any style of martial arts. But then at a certain point, we'd say, all right, now it's time to graduate from only the external into the internal. And here the internal splits into two divisions, two paths. The first path is what we call the circulation of the qi. So, in other words, as you get better at your Tai Chi, you'll also get better at circulating the life force energy. Now, this leads to greater health. It helps to protect the body from harm. It keeps you alive longer, so it's good for longevity, etc. So, the circulation of the qi leads to all kinds of physical and emotional and health benefits. But then there is another stage that you go once you go one step beyond that. And by the way, the circulation of the qi is also thought to be really good for the martial aspect. So it links the external with the internal. Because at the end of the day, the Tai Chi martial artist isn't just relying on the strength of his punches or kicks. He's relying on the qi energy that comes out. That's the theory anyway. A fist could leave you a nice bruise or break a bone, but the qi could kill you. Anyway, that's the story. Now, once you have gotten really good at the circulation of qi, then your master would lead you into the third division, which is what we call the cultivation of qi. Now, cultivation of the qi goes beyond health benefits or martial style and technique. It really is designed it has the purpose of making people better human beings, of teaching you how to get along well with other people so that you may not need to fight. In fact, its intention was to put an end to violence and war and those kinds of destructive tendencies that humans have. It's meant to give you a sense of spirituality so that at the end of the day you become a more compassionate, benevolent, and authentic person. And so the internal martial arts, Tai Chi being sort of the prime example, are meant to do more than just develop you as a martial artist, develop your strength and stamina and flexibility, etc. It's meant to do more than just give you health and longevity, but it also is meant to have you become one of those people who become part of the solution of the world instead of part of the problem of the world. Anyway, that's what internal martial arts are all about. And Anna, thank you for that question. That was a really terrific question. It's a topic that I spend a lot of time on. It's something that we teach our students in the academy, and it's something that I like to engage people on if they have a question about the cultivation of the qi, which leads me to my question of the day for you. How do you make yourself into a better human being? It's a kind of an interesting question, isn't it? Like, do you have a regular practice of, and it could be anything. I'm, certainly not here to judge or assess that. It might be meditation, it might be going to church, attending seminars, reading books, personal contemplation of nature, all kinds of ways. But how do you get past the typical reactions that we all have, the big four, shame, guilt, fear, and anger? How do we make ourselves into the better human beings who are part of the solution, not part of the problem? I'm just curious. That's the question of the day. Write your answers and more questions in the comment section below. I'd really appreciate that. I love your questions, and I'm going to try to use more and more of them in the episodes. Also, if you have not already done so, please hit the subscribe button and the share button, because if you're enjoying these different lessons, I'd love it if you would share them with other people so that they can get the benefit also. Come on over to the website, taijifit.net. You know that link is down in the description of this episode below. And check out some of the cool stuff that we're doing over there. I hope that you get a chance to come to some of the live hangouts that we're doing on Facebook. That's a great place to come and see what we're doing, become part of the conversation, get to know each other, all kinds of things like that. Well, that's it for another day. We're coming up on 25 days of 100 days, 25% through the whole project. Can't wait for that. But that's coming up tomorrow. So I'll see you then.